I am never gonna change. Lily is never gonna change, and you are never gonna change. You're never gonna stop straining to find one tiny speck of redemption in Lily, and she's never gonna stop disappointing you.
You're wrong. You don't know the whole story.
I don't want to know the whole story, Stefan. I don't want to know any more excuses or lies or anything that tells me anything other than the way that I know it went down. Our mother faked her death, left her sons behind, started a new family, and went out of her way to forget us forever. That is the only story that matters, Stefan. She tossed us aside without any concern of what would happen to us. As far as I'm concerned, she deserves what she gets.
Damon, along with Klaus, is probably the most popular character in the entirety of the Vampire Diaries universe. And this is probably, in my opinion, because Ian looks, talks, and acts like Ian. Yes, I know the actor really elevated the character, but as a character, as in as a standalone character, Damon is still well written. For the most part, I'll get onto the bad parts later on. But in terms of the goods, there is a lot of character depth to Damon. There is a lot of complexity to him. He's a deeply flawed character. But why is he deeply flawed? What caused him to be this way? Why exactly did we meet Damon in the way that we actually met Damon? Why was he so evil in season 1? Why did he grow as a character? Why did he like Elena in the first place? And finally, why is his relationship with Stefan so complicated? All of these will be answered in today's video on Uncovering TV Villains, Damon Edition.
Son, eat your dinner, please.
I cannot.
What's the matter, sweetheart?
It was not an invitation, Damon. Eat.
Why is he not eating?
Because this is Sammy.
That animal was put on this earth to be sustenance, not your friend. Now you will clean your plate, or you will spend the night in the root cellar wishing you had.
Mother, please do not make me eat her.
You heard your father, Damon.
Damon's backstory before he met Katherine already tells us exactly what we need to know about him, and pretty much answered majority of the questions that I listed earlier. On the surface, Damon is an evil, narcissistic psychopath. However, you would only come to these conclusions based on his actions and not the reason why he made those actions. The reason why he was like that goes all the way back to when he was a child. Damon, once he realized that somebody that he loves is about to face serious consequences for their actions, Damon doesn't mind taking a fall for them because he believes he has to. He believes that's his duty as an older brother. And he takes that duty so seriously that he older brothers everyone that he loves, even people that are older than him. He even took the fall for his own mother, facing the brunt of his father's abuse just to protect her because he believes somebody has to. And he got beaten mercilessly because of it. But that won't stop him from doing it again and again. Because that's who he is to anyone that he loves. He believes everyone is his younger brother. Everyone is his younger sister. Even if it costs his life. And later on when he became a vampire, it's even if it costs his humanity. If he believes he needs to, Damon would die or kill people for the people that he loves. If he views like a younger sister or if he views like a younger brother, that is what he would do. You saw that with Elena before they got together. You saw that with Rose. You saw that with Bonnie. You saw that with Stefan. You saw that with Alaric. You saw that with Jeremy. Damon will stand up to anyone to protect the people that he loves. Klaus, Cole, the devil, anyone. However, sometimes Damon does falter when it comes to him protecting people that he loves. And one reason for this isn't fear of the evil people in the verse, people that he knows will immediately kill him if he steps out of line. Not fear of pain or consequence, no. The one reason why Damon tends to falter with regards to him protecting the people that he loves is because of love. Yes, I know I just mentioned protecting the people that he loves. However, I was only including one type of love, platonic. What I'm not trying to refer to is the other one, romantic. And the reason why this caused Damon problems in protecting the people that he loves platonically is because when Damon is in love with you, he loves hard. He goes all in. He becomes selfish with regards to you. He does not care if he hurts the people that he loves platonically, be it family members or friends. Which brings us to 1864 and Katherine.
Wait, where did you learn this game?
Camp outside Atlanta. One of the officers picked it up at Harvard. Catch.
Wait, what are the rules? What are the rules?
Who needs rules? Mind if I join you?
Well, you could get hurt. My brother likes to play rough.
Somehow, I think that you play rougher.
Why are you standing there? That is a girl who clearly wants to be chased. If you don't do it, I will.
With regards to Katherine, it was somewhat implied that Damon knew that Katherine doesn't really love him in the way that Damon wants her to. But Damon doesn't really care about that. He doesn't mind Katherine using him for momentary pleasure because he loved Katherine. He loved Katherine too much. Even Katherine pointed it out. Now, this doesn't mean that Katherine doesn't love Damon. She outright admitted that she does, but not in the way that Damon wants Katherine to love him. And this is because of his younger brother, Stefan. The way that Damon wants Katherine to view him is the exact same way that Katherine views Stefan. And weird enough, Katherine faced the same issue that Damon faced with regards to unrequited love. Because Stefan doesn't love Katherine the way that Katherine wants Stefan to love her. Just like with Damon and her. And Damon again knows all of this, but he loves her, so he doesn't care. In fact, the only thing that Damon didn't know at this point, mainly because of compulsion, is that Stefan doesn't really view Katherine the same way that he does. At that point, what he believed was that both him and his brother are in love with Katherine, and Katherine only loves Stefan. And Damon would do anything to have Katherine all to himself, which is the selfishness with Damon, which goes against everything that he stands for. And this is because, like I said earlier on, Damon only falters when it comes to protecting the people that he loves because of romantic love, because he loves way too deeply when it comes to romantic and a girl. Although this has only really happened 2 times, but a lot of the things that Damon did that was selfish was because of those 2 people, that obviously being Katherine and Elena. In Katherine's situation, it was actually the earliest time we saw Damon being selfish. Damon actually asked Katherine to turn him and him alone. He didn't want Katherine to turn Stefan because he wants Katherine all to himself, forever. Initially, you might think, oh, it's because he's trying to protect Stefan from becoming a vampire, but it wasn't. Because when they both finally became vampires after believing that Katherine died, Damon wanted to die, which proves that Damon would rather be a vampire for Katherine than being a vampire for his brother. So the whole eternity of misery thing that Damon promised Stefan was purely selfish and out of anger. Because him and Stefan becoming vampires is confirmation that even to Katherine's last breath, or at least what they believed to be Katherine's last breath, she still didn't pick Damon over Stefan, the way that Damon wants her to. So at that point, Damon wanted to die because Katherine died, even if Stefan pleaded constantly to have Damon turn with him. And then obviously Stefan forced him to turn, removing the possibility of dying somewhat painlessly. That's why in Damon's anger, he promised Stefan an eternity of misery. Because he was angry at Stefan for not only stopping him from ending his own life, but because Stefan being turned into a vampire confirmed that Katherine doesn't really love Damon the way that Damon believes that she should actually love him. And this isn't something that is implied, this is something that's outright stated by Damon himself. Now, when they became vampires, Damon's relationship towards the people that he cares about and the people that he considered allies and the people that he loves, either being romantic or platonic, took the form of Klaus's relationship with his siblings. Pretty much all the time I talk about Klaus, I tend to mention the fact that Klaus is a necessary evil, in the sense that Klaus being who he is required for his family's safety. If there's anybody that's going to kill people to protect their family, it will be him. That's why, excluding Cole, the rest of his siblings will be considered saints when you compare them to Klaus. Because Klaus does most of the killings. Most of the reason why they fear the family is because they fear Klaus. The reason why nobody tests the originals is because they fear Klaus. The reason why no enemy has been able to defeat the originals is because Klaus was able to kill them before they're able to do much to his family. That is how the dynamic works. Any alliance of people that truly love and respect each other always need a necessary evil. If you notice in the originals, when Klaus stopped being a necessary evil, Elijah and Freya started taking that role. Mostly Elijah. And that is the case for Damon and the people that he loves. Damon doesn't mind doing the messed up things to protect the people that he loves. Yes, that also includes hurting said people that he loves. Because he believes that if he doesn't, then they're going to face an even worse punishment later on. Typically death. That is the exact same thing with Klaus. Before Michael died, most of the time that Klaus daggered people, his justification is always, I am trying to protect the family. Yes, that includes the people that he daggered. When he believes you are a threat to the family, he will dagger you. Yes, a lot of the time it might be something small. Yes, it might be something a bit selfish, but his justification is almost always the same. It's the exact same thing with Damon. Just like with Damon and the people that he loves. And again, this isn't something that's implied. This is something that's outright stated. An example of this would be when Damon force-fed Elena vampire blood before the ritual. He did that because he believed that Elena was about to die and that's the only way to save her. Even though he knows that that will hurt her mentally. Although Damon cares that it's going to be hurting her mentally, he believes that he has to do it and Elena will thank him later on. He even told Stefan that Stefan would also do the same thing. The only reason why Stefan wouldn't is because he cares too much about keeping the image of him being a good person over doing what is necessary to save the people that he loves. It was even somewhat implied that Stefan is the smarter of the two, but that would only occur when Stefan stopped caring about people viewing him like he's a good person. Once they stop doing that, once he stopped caring about people viewing him that way, he's almost unstoppable. In fact, he's the only person that ever fought Klaus to a standstill with regards to a chess match. Yes, he had the advantage, but that's an advantage that he created. But that version of Stefan is just a small portion of his life. That is Damon all the time. Like, for example, when Damon first met Cade, bearing in mind that Cade is an immortal, like, based on what Damon will believe at this point, he is completely unkillable. Not to mention he's thousands of years old and a powerful psychic. The most powerful psychic he's ever met. And not to mention Cade has control over a dimension that delivers you a fate way worse than death. And you want to know what Damon was thinking about the first time they met? It wasn't how to possibly get out of the situation. It wasn't to run away. It wasn't how can I talk my way out of this. No. Damon's first thoughts were how exactly can I kill this person? And that's because Damon's adrenaline is not fight or flight. It's just fight. Even if the people that he's protecting are stronger than him. And that's because you can describe Damon as anything negative. The only thing that you can't call Damon is a coward. Because pound for pound, based on strength level, Damon is the bravest character in the entire verse. Like, I'm not exaggerating when I say this. If Damon was Klaus in this situation, if Damon was in the situation that Klaus was in, the moment that he got the daggers, Damon would have hunted Michael down. Because Klaus had 3 originals as backup. And they have a weapon to put down Michael. Because PTSD is something that Damon will never suffer unless he's forced to. So when I say that Damon would have got rid of Michael by the 12th century, I am not exaggerating. He would have.
The first founders party. Where you signed the registry.
I didn't care that I had gotten something that my brother wanted. I didn't even care if it hurt him. I only knew that I wanted her.
So he was upset.
That's the thing about Damon. He doesn't get mad. He just gets even.
Why exactly is Damon still evil, even though I said all these things about Damon? And the main reason for that is that the things I just said about Damon only applies to the people that Damon cares about or loves. Especially when Damon believes that he has a job to do and he needs to cause you harm in order for him to succeed in doing that job. Now, this doesn't mean that this is the only time this happens. Damon is sadistic. Damon is messed up in the head. Especially after he met with Sage and Sage taught him how to feed in the way that she believes that vampires should feed, which is enjoying the feed. And that's the thing of vampirism. The more you cause harm, the more numb you are to violence. So before the whole stuff with Sage, before Damon started killing in large quantities, he probably would avoid killing people even if there is no ulterior motive. However, afterwards, Damon would just kill you and wouldn't even flinch about it. Damon could kill, harm, feed, or even abuse you in ways in which you will believe that Damon is a complete psychopath. Damon has been conditioned since he was a human, since he was a child, that people less than him, in fact anything or anyone less than him, mean nothing to him. He can do whatever he wants to them if it benefits him. Their pain and suffering shouldn't matter because it serves as a purpose for him to harm them. Initially, his father embedded it in his head about animals, and then obviously later on with the influence of Katherine and later on Sage, it became humans. Remember, adults that have been abused as children tend to put themselves in situations in which they have control, no matter how bad it is. And in Damon's situation, his control is his hunting. He controls the life and death of everyone that he feeds on. That is the fun in feeding for him. That's why Damon does not really care when people actually get hurt, especially when he's the one that does it, because he's been conditioned that way for a very long time. It's been so embedded in his brain that Damon's first instinct when it comes to teaching new vampires exactly how to hone their abilities is to teach them how to have fun when they feed. Know how to control their speed, know how to control their senses, know how to control their strength, but to feed and compel them to forget the same thing that was done to him when he was still vulnerable. And when Stefan said that Damon doesn't get mad, he gets even, he's referring to the people that Damon doesn't really care about. Yes, he might harm the people that he cares about like Stefan or Elena, but it's almost never really directly. It's usually to people that he doesn't care about. However, the people that he loves actually care about these people. However, to Damon, they mean nothing to him. They're a means to an end. They're just sustenance. Because when it comes to the people outside of the people that Damon cares about, Damon is a sadistic psychopath, and that didn't really change. It just happened to be that the people that he cared about just grew in number. And we started viewing his actions from his point of view and from the point of views of the people that he cares about and also the people that cares about him. When we begin viewing it from those perspectives, we begin justifying the things that Damon does, no matter how bad it is. That's why it was harder to view the stuff that Damon did in season 1 because we were viewing his actions from people that don't like Damon. For example, Damon killing every single member of each generation of the Whitmore family, only leaving one person, is evil. But because we began viewing it from Damon's perspective or the people that care about Damon's perspective, we begin justifying it and outright ignore it.
I've made a lot of choices that have gotten me here. I deserve this. I deserve to die.
No. You don't.
I do, Elena. It's okay. Because if I'd have chosen differently, I wouldn't have met you. I'm so sorry. I've done so many things to hurt you.
It's okay. I forgive you.
I know you love Stefan. It won't always be Stefan. But I love you. You should know that.
I do.
You should have met me in 1864. You would have liked me. Huh?
I like you now. Just the way you are.
I already made an entire video on my problems with Damon and Elena. Before they became a couple, they were greatly written, as in they had a lot of chemistry. Both of their characters benefit from each other. However, after they became a couple, the characters didn't really benefit from each other. Because before they got together, the reason why Damon liked Elena is because Elena was the Catherine that cares about him, that shows that he cared about him. Elena also never really lied to Damon. At no point did she ever make Damon believe that he was number one in terms of the people that Elena loves, as in romantically love. That was always Stefan, and Damon knows it was always Stefan, as much as he doesn't want it to be. And the only time Elena made Damon believe that it was just him was when Elena outright believes herself that it's just him. Elena doesn't lie to Damon, and when she does, she tries to fix it. So it's a similar reason as to why Damon loved Elena. It's the same way as how Stefan loved Elena. Elena was the Catherine that cared. Elena was the Catherine that doesn't lie to him. Elena was the Catherine that was trying to make him into a good person, no matter what he does. At first, it was small, but the moment that Catherine outright admitted to him that it was always Stefan and Stefan was always number one, because it wasn't really confirmed before by Catherine herself, it was somewhat implied by her. Once he got confirmed by Catherine, that whole thing changed. He basically dumped everything that he felt for Catherine on Elena. The same blind loyalty that he had towards Catherine is the same thing he had towards Elena. And in terms of the things that I don't like about Damon, it is perfectly emulated with his relationship with Elena, as in after they got together. Because in terms of Damon's character, it can really go two ways. He should either be a consistently written character, or he needs to change for the better. And what I mean by a consistently written character and a consistent character is that when I say that Damon is an evil character to the people that he does not care about or he doesn't love, and the fact that you would only view it as change because the people that Damon actually loves and care about just grew over time, should be the way that it was done throughout the entire show, which it was. However, they were also simultaneously doing something else, which is the notion that Damon changed to be a better person because of Elena. He wasn't a good person, he didn't change. Damon was still as violent as he always was, he was still as sadistic as he always was. That didn't really change in the series, which created a lot of character problems for Elena. Because Elena's entire character arc after season 3 was just benched on this, that she's the reason why Damon is changing into be a good person, when Damon isn't really changing into a good person. Damon was just the exact same. They just keep saying that Damon is a good person, but not showing that Damon is a good person. The things that Damon does good for people that he doesn't necessarily care about is because people that he does care about tell him not to do that. That is not him growing into a good person. That is him doing what he's always been doing since we've met him. So when Stefan said this at the end of the series,
He's the better man. He's the right man.
because no, he wasn't. Because at best, he'll be on par with Stefan. And that's me pushing it. But that was the thing that the show was pushing from season 4. And this doesn't mean that Damon would harm everyone that he doesn't care about. If he has no reason to do anything to you, he won't. In fact, that's the reason why most of the people that he does care about that wasn't someone that he loves romantically or someone that he's related to actually started from. That's how his relationship with Alaric started. That's why he was so fond of Rose. He only really knew Rose for about a week. That's how his friendship with Bonnie actually started. Same thing with Sheriff Forbes. So there's nothing positive that Damon did in the later season that he hasn't done before. So the notion that Damon grew into a good person is a lie, because he didn't. He was just the same old Damon. It just happens to be that the more people that he cared about, and the fact that we start viewing it from his perspective, make us believe that he did actually grow into a better person, when he did not. Now obviously the first option to make Damon consistent is a lot easier. But the second option, and actually showing character growth and making Damon a good person, isn't something far-fetched, isn't something that hasn't been done before. In fact, it's been done in this very universe. For a character that is way worse than Damon, that's way more evil than Damon, that's way more sadistic than Damon, Klaus. We can tell that Klaus has grown as a character in the originals, not because people told us, but because we can actually see the difference between Klaus's actions after the point that we believe he grew and before that point. Like when people say that Klaus has become a better person, we can see that. There is proof to back that up. Like I always said with most of Klaus's video, the entirety of season 3 of the originals wouldn't have gone past episode 10 if this was old Klaus before the incident with the end of season 2. The incident that caused him to hurt his entire family in order to defeat an enemy. We can see that. We can see that Klaus is very eager to please everyone. He doesn't want to take one step wrong. People that he usually would have killed, he didn't. Do you think Klaus would have ever hesitated to sacrifice Delena the moment that he found out that Delena could be a weapon to kill Lucian? No, because Klaus would have immediately gave the go-ahead to Freya to do what she needs to do. But he didn't. If harming others isn't necessary, he wouldn't do it. So when he actually started doing it in season 5, you understand why season 5 was really badly written. Because that was not Klaus. The show tried to pass off as saying that, oh, it's because Elijah wasn't there. But in season 3, Klaus didn't really need Elijah to tell him that, oh, the things that you're doing is bad. Klaus came to that conclusion on his own. The decisions that he made that decision on his own. But anyways, this is not to say that Damon was a bad character. He was not. But I do believe that Damon could have been done much better if they actually made him either consistent or make him grow as a character. Because he's a deep, complex character.